Shalom, everyone. I truly hope all is well with you and your families. I've been intending to record this video for a while now, but my life has been very full lately. All good, but I've been productively busy. But what brought it back to my attention was a group of young men who recently thanked me for being on Cam Newton's podcast, Funky Fridays. It was that moment that reminded me of something I needed to address, because ever since that interview went viral, people have been sharing clips from it, but none more than the closing moment, the outro, where Cam Newton invites his guests to point their index finger toward one camera, then extend their pinky toward another while the index finger is extended, and then they would both declare one love. As millions could tell from my facial expression, I was completely caught off guard. Not because of Cam, but because the hand gesture itself stirred something in me. See, for years, I've taught young men in the cave of Adullam and even their parents to discern the unseen meanings in movies, television, and what they do with their bodies. See, symbols aren't just movements, they're messages. They reflect what we believe, revere, or sometimes what we've unconsciously accepted. So when I saw that sign, something so familiar, yet strangely unsettling, my spirit paused. I knew sign language, or knew the sign language gesture for love, but I also remembered another gesture, the satanic salute, the horned hand gesture. They almost look identical. The only difference is the position of the thumb, whether it's in or whether it's out. And in that moment, one question rose in my mind. How close can light resemble darkness before discernment disappears? So instead of compromising just to get along, and although Cam said that he was unfamiliar with any other meaning for that hand gesture, I chose to follow my conviction and not participate. For it is written in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, that light and darkness have nothing in common. That question and that verse pierce right to the heart of this video, because deception doesn't begin with open rebellion. It begins with resemblance. See, the horned hand gesture with the index and pinky extended or raised and the thumb folded in existed in pagan cultures for centuries. It was associated with the horned deities and used in rituals, superstitions, and curses long before Anton LaVey, the founder of the Satanic Church, adopted a similar gesture, actually identical, as the symbol of the horns of Satan. In ancient Roman rituals, the same gesture, called the corna, which means horned in Italian, or the mano cornuta, which translates horned hand. This horned hand gesture many believe to ward off evil, yet it symbolized the very horns of false gods. For example, it represented the horns of the god Faunus, the Roman equivalent of Pan, the half-goat, half-man deity of fertility, lust, and nature worship. Also in ancient Mesopotamia, horned crowns were worn by gods to symbolize divine power and authority, again linking horns with the worship of false deities. Then much later in America, the I love you hand sign emerged within the deaf community, a gesture formed by combining the American Sign Language hand shapes for the letters I, the letter L, and the letter Y. I want to be clear here, there is no evidence that the deaf community created it with deceptive and spiritual intent. Yet visually, the hand shape is strikingly similar to the ancient horned hand satanic salute gesture, with only one subtle distinction. That is, whether the thumb is extended or is folded over into the palm of the hand. So as a man of Yah who is trained to stay vigilant to the schemes of the devil, as 1 Peter 5:8 warns us, I chose to follow my convictions and not just participate in the closing outro, but also take time today to explain to you why I had the conviction to not participate. Also, I want to be fair here. Cam Newton never said he was a Satanist or a devil worshiper. Therefore, I won't put that label on a man who didn't put it on himself. For it is written that we shall not bear false witness against a neighbor, and he who spreads slander is a fool. So my pause during the outro of Funky Fridays had nothing to do with Cam Newton's heart, but with the symbol and hand gesture itself and what it represents in other contexts. Also, I'm not accusing anyone in the deaf community of evil. Their use of this hand gesture has been documented as sign language for I love you. Now, however, since I am a man of principle, I always look at foundation, not just function. And when I look at this gesture, this hand gesture's foundation, I still see the horns. Whether the thumb in or the thumb is out, to me, it's the same sign. As men and women of Yah, we must remember the enemy doesn't attack openly. He operates through subliminal messaging, subtle distortions that desensitize us to his deception. He'll take something innocent and twist it just enough to blur the line between what's sacred and what's profane. That's why it's called the mystery of iniquity. It hides in plain sight. Even in hip hop, an art form that began as a voice for the voiceless, a cultural expression of emceeing, DJing, b-boying, graffiti, and knowledge, but we now see themes and imagery and symbolism that subconsciously and sometimes boldly promote spiritual darkness. From the Baphomet to pentagrams, upside down crosses, demonic costumes, ritual-like performances, to open mockery of scripture, we all see it in front of us. It's right there in the videos, the performances, even the album covers, and even the clothing lines. And here's something most people don't realize. Even the thumb out version, the same handshake American Sign Language uses to mean I love you, has been used in rock culture and dark occult themed imagery. In fact, the BBC reported that Gene Simmons of the iconic rock group Kiss once tried to trademark what he described as the devil horns gesture. Again, I'm not saying everyone who uses the thumb out sign means evil, nor am I saying everyone who uses it means I love you. But it becomes clear that the same hand gesture can salute the very spirits depending on who's using it and why. So when a hand gesture meant to express love resembles one that ancient pagan cultures, modern pop culture, and occult movements have used to celebrate darkness and defiance, that's not something I can ignore. Because it's in the gray areas where the devil hides his influence most effectively. Remember, he was subtle in the garden. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 tells us he was more crafty than any beast of the field, meaning he wasn't loud or obvious, but strategic, appealing, and hidden inside something that appeared harmless. And the devil hasn't changed his tactics. He still masquerades as an angel of light. And you can find that in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. In other words, the devil disguises himself in what looks good and sounds spiritual, what appears to be of Yah, but isn't. This is why 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 22 commands us to abstain from the very appearance of evil. So my prayer is that we walk wisely, showing love without compromise and condemnation, and showing devotion without confusion. As always, I hope this video encouraged you, even educated you. If you want to be notified when I upload another one, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. But my brothers, if you're ready to go deeper, if you want to be trained by me and walk shoulder to shoulder with a community of brothers seeking to become comprehensive men, then join my Patreon brotherhood. The link is below in the description. Until next time, my brothers, keep growing, keep building, and keep striving to be the man the moment demands. Shalom.